Eric Hovde joins me now. Eric, we always get your name mangled. I've decided it's like hover. Eric Hovde. Am I right?
Of D.
Hovde. Well, whatever it is, we're very glad to have you back because you've closed the gap with Tammy Baldwin. I think it's a statistical tie. Am I right?
That's the case. We are absolutely down to a jump ball race, and I plan on winning this, Hugh, but I need a lot of help. So things are going
I
well.
have posted your website because I want people to go and make a small dollar donor here because we got to get troops out in the field, micro targeting, turn out the vote, GOTV, 25, 50, $100 helps Eric win. What's the money situation like, Eric?
Look, she takes all the special interest money. So she takes money from big tech, big pharma, which, by the way, she regulates and her partner invests in, then they don't disclose it. She basically lives on Wall Street with her Wall Street partner, even though she's run against Wall Street and wealth inequality, and the wealthy don't pay their fair share. So, yeah, she's got plenty of money. But look, I've made a big investment. Donations have been coming in, which I really greatly appreciate. I can't tell you how much I really appreciate everybody's assistance on my behalf. So, look, it's just going to be running hard all the way to the finish line. It's 27 days out. The momentum is on our side, which is, momentum is so important in the world of business and sports and in politics. It's absolutely critical. So, as I say, look, it's a limited amount of time. I've been in this race for almost 9 months, running it hard every day. I feel like I'm in a marathon. I'm about the 22-mile mark, and you still got a fair amount of distance to go, but you're getting tired at times. But thank God blessed me with a lot of energy and thick skin. But you can see the
You know,
finish
I've
line. You
never,
just got to keep.
I haven't done a marathon in 18 years. I used to do them fairly regularly. And mile 20 is the rough mile. 22, you've gone through the wall, the proverbial wall, and you're headed to the finish. Nevertheless, Eric, on Monday I had Derek Van Orden on, Congressman Van Orden. On Tuesday I had Senator Johnson on, and today you're on. The reason is very simple. Turnout matters in Wisconsin. It's the burned over country. You've had like 1,000 elections in 10 years. How do you feel about your get out the vote effort?
I feel good about it. There's several groups in our state working hard on my behalf and our own efforts and the party efforts. So yeah, I feel pretty good about it. But really, it really comes down to me, Hugh, more so than anything, is everybody who's listening going grabbing their neighbor, their friends, their siblings, and just saying, "Hey, did you go out and vote? We got to get out and vote." That is the most effective strategy, and that's what I've been saying through this whole thing. We've got to get everybody in the middle, low propensity voters. I mean, Hugh, you know this. It's a stunning the amount of hunters that don't vote. It's stunning the amount of people that sit in a church pew every weekend that don't vote. I don't get it. They care about their Second Amendment. They care about religious freedom. Obviously, I'm a Christian. I believe what the left has become is just crazy. So I think it's imperative that we get out and vote.
You know, Eric, I was listening to the Ruthless podcast with JD Vance. They went fishing in Michigan. And JD was pointing out that the outdoorsmen in Michigan don't vote as the normal. They're underperforming the state. I can't believe that, but apparently it's true in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania too, is that the outdoors community, hunters, fishermen, they do not vote in the same numbers as the rest of the state, which is astonishing to me because the federal government wants to shut them down. Let's tell people your background because Tammy Baldwin is as left as they come. What is Eric's background?
Look, I'm a career. She's a career politician. I'm a classic entrepreneur. I started my first company. First of all, I'm fourth generation Wisconsinite. Born, raised, went to public schools, went on to University of Wisconsin. Uh, Started my first company in my 20s, and then started building multiple different companies throughout my career. My main businesses are banking and real estate development. I have a real estate development company in Wisconsin, and then I have a banking business that operates throughout the Rocky Mountain states and the West Coast, and even in Florida, and have offices on the West Coast of Florida. So I'm worried about my team there with the hurricane coming. But I also
We just talked
have,
with Mike Waltz about that. They're getting ready. Eric, that you mentioned the real estate, and I want to ask you this because I asked former President Trump this on Monday, and I ask anyone who actually knows about real estate. I'm a retired lawyer, but from 1989 to 2016, I represented real estate developers. Kamala Harris is out there saying, and Tammy Baldwin saying, we're going to build 3 million houses. The federal government doesn't build any houses, at least efficiently. They might throw up one or two Section 7 units that are ridiculously cost expensive. When you hear her say that, what do you think? Because they don't know how to allocate resources. They don't know how to build anything.
look, it's economic incompetency. Every time I hear her talk, I mean, price controls. We're going to send $25,000 to everybody to buy a home. All you're going to do is jack up homes by 25,000, create another bubble, and then it'll collapse. Look, you have to create a playing field. You have to speed up the entitlement process. You have to take out the impact fees and all the regulatory and back taxes that are layered into housing. The National Association of Home Builders estimates that 25 to 30% of the cost of a house today to build a home is tied into taxes and regulations. That's absurd. So I know how to fix housing, but I could spend an hour here talking to you. That's the problem where we stand in this country today. We have career politicians that know nothing what they're talking about, like Tammy Baldwin, because she's never operated in the real world, trying to design economic policies that only make matters worse. And what we need is people that actually come from the real world who understand how these problems exist and go about getting them fixed.
Now, Eric, you're a strong supporter of Israel. Tammy Baldwin is part of Team Biden, which cannot decide what to do and built the pier and said don't go into Rafah. Does that come up much on the trail, Israel?
Uh, for the Jewish community, absolutely. But I would say the two biggest issues that I hear consistently is obviously the economy, inflation. People have been crushed. And then secondly, the border. Every state's a border state. You know, it's the crime that's come into our country. Look, there's no such thing back to economics. The Democrats don't understand there's no such thing as a free lunch. And when you have, 16, $20 million illegal immigrants using our health care and not paying anything into it, that cost gets transferred to all of us here in America. Obviously, it's compounding the housing problem. The fentanyl crisis is a real crisis. We've lost over 100,000, largely young people, the last few years in this country due to that poison coming from China that goes to the drug cartels, comes up over our southern border. And, Hugh, the one thing I didn't get mentioned about my background is I've had a foundation for over 25 years and focused on a variety of things, rescuing abandoned children. I have Hovde homes around the world that are rescuing children out of the sex trade, out of abandonment, out of crises. And they can't account for 100,000 children at our southern border. And sadly, I can say a lot of those children have probably ended up in the sex trade. So they've
Yeah,
created a
it
humanity.
is. It's a great tragedy. It's a tragedy that President Trump brought up on Monday, and it doesn't get any attention. And I'm glad you do that. I didn't know about your Hovde homes. I want people to know about your website, Eric Hovde, EricHovde.com. Go and make a small dollar donor. We can win this. I look forward on election night to seeing the red check mark go up when they project Eric has won. We got time for one quick question, Eric. Madison is the heart and soul of the Democratic turnout machine. Are you making inroads in your alma mater or hometown?
I am. Look, it's interesting. The Wisconsin State Journal was doing an article about why there's so many Huffy signs in the Madison area, which was great. I was born and raised in there, I'm born and raised in the belly of the beast, but I'm a diehard conservative. It's funny when you're conservative and you live like in a town like Madison or Berkeley, it makes you actually more conservative because you see how insane their policies are.
And you learn how to answer their objections. Eric Hovde, great to have you. People go and help him and get out the vote. Go and get involved in the campaign. If you've never been in a campaign, this is a great one. It could be a 10-vote race.